Is it a mistake to endorse a candidate, or boy, you got in a hornet's nest once you endorsed a candidate? And there are pros and cons. I just want to tell you quickly again why I endorse Senator Ted Cruz and how I feel about it at this juncture now as we're coming towards the end of the month of February and Donald Trump is really far ahead and has got the momentum. First, I really respect James Robinson and other Christian leaders who say we never endorse a candidate. We give them input, we pray for them, we speak into their lives, but we never endorse a candidate. I can understand why. Because once you endorse a candidate, now you're associated with that candidate, and if they do good or if they do bad, you're associated with them for better or for worse. And also for me, when I read an article with concerns about Donald Trump, now people think, oh, you're just doing that because you're trying to take votes away from him for Senator Cruz. And there's things like that. People question your motivation and stuff, and then get dirty. If Senator Cruz does something that's objectionable or has a policy that I'm not totally with, then how do you stand with that? So I fully understand that, and I've never endorsed a candidate before. I may never do it again. But let me tell you why, again, I endorsed Senator Cruz and why I still feel good about doing it. Number one, I didn't endorse him thinking he was going to win or could win necessarily, but thinking he'd be the best person for the job and that he could win if God was with him. Look, there's no way he should have been elected senator in the first place. It was really remarkable that he ended up winning by 14 points against really the establishment there in both settings. So I knew from the start the only way he's going to make it nationally, get the Republican nomination, let alone win the presidency, is with God's help. So that remains my position to this day. But let me tell you why I endorsed a candidate for the first time. If you've ever listened to me at all, you know that I live, breathe, think revolution, Jesus radically changing us, and we radically go and change our world. I mean, that's my heart, that's my life, that's my heartbeat. That's why I'm introduced on the radio every day as your voice of moral, cultural, and spiritual revolution. That's what beats in my heart. And it has to start in the church and spread to the society. It has to be grassroots. However, we also need radical change from the top down also. It's got to rise from the bottom up, but we need it the top down also. So Ted Cruz was the one guy that I felt, he number one, shares my deep, deep moral convictions for life, for family, and even standing with Israel. Some other candidates do as well, but I knew Senator Cruz checked off on all those, and that he was the one guy who was proven to be completely anti-establishment. Because in my view, let's say you had a strong pro-life, pro-family candidate like Marco Rubio. If elected, is he going to fight against the Republican establishment? He's overcome the Democratic by being elected, but would he fight against the Republican establishment that just tries to stifle real radical change and just wants us to kind of be happily in the middle somewhere? So that's why I endorsed Senator Cruz. And the other part was this. Since I was asked by his dad to pray about endorsing him, I said, look, I'm not a political campaigner. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to stump for a candidate. However, I will work with that candidate for religious liberties and freedoms, and I'll be there to help advise that candidate on moral, cultural issues. So I thought there might be an opportunity, me among many, to have a positive impact either on the campaign or on the presidency of Ted Cruz. And even if he's not elected, he's a young man still. He could have a bright future ahead of him in many different ways of public service, and perhaps presidents in the future if he doesn't make it now. And therefore, I could be of some help in that regard and help with the Jesus revolution, not just from the bottom up, but from the top down. So those remain the reasons. If he's not elected, if it's a Trump candidacy, boy, I will pray that prophetic words that were spoken about him were true. I will pray that God will use him in ways that will shock us and amaze us, and that he'll really come to know the Lord and fear the Lord and act accordingly. But that's why I did what I did. When I write articles, when I speak what I do, it's not because I endorse the senator. It's because of views that I hold to, and I'd be speaking them whether I endorsed or not. But just wanted to weigh in on that. Folks have asked, folks have wondered. Those are my thoughts.